Welcome to our fourth session of the day, Cutting Through the Hype and Driving Real Outcomes with Generative AI. Shane Orlick, Eli Greenfield, Jason Gelman, and Crystal Hu will join us on stage to unravel the extraordinary capabilities of GenAI, like yours truly, and discuss how it can transform work and innovation.
Hope everyone get caffeinated. I'm Crystal Hu. I cover venture and startups for Reuters. In the past year, I've been asking startups and investors what products they are building in AI, where they see the value accrue. So I'm very happy to be joined by executives from companies like Google, Jasper, and Adobe to tell us what they're building and what they have learned along the way. So maybe to start off, we can with you, Jason, everyone can tell us a little bit more about the products you're building, how you're using AI in your product offering.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason Gelman, a director of product at Google working on the Vertex platform, specifically extending Vertex to include both the generative AI models and tooling to make those models useful.
I'm Eli Greenfield. I'm a CTO of digital media at Adobe. About 130% of my time right now is focused on the Adobe Firefly technologies and platform, which is our collection of creative models designed to drive the creative workflow and assist creatives of all stripes in their process.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane Orlick. I'm the president at Jasper. Jasper's building a co-pilot for marketers to get better outcomes out of their marketing stack and really drive better performance with AI.
And it's amazing, all of you guys are companies that's already using AI to build products and making real revenue from the millions to the billions. So maybe we can start with some startup perspectives, Shane, that you built Jasper, that one of the kind of earlier, fastest growing writing tools in the space. And you guys were able to get early customer, a lot of feedbacks and a lot of customer adoptions. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, sure. And it's exciting for me. So I've been at Jasper for 2 years, almost 2 years. But it's really exciting for me that we're actually talking about AI and going beyond the hype and getting back to what's important, which is actually focusing on customer outcomes. And so I think throughout Jasper's about a 3-year-old company. We've had really rapid growth. We announced our first year financials, but we went 0 to 30 million in the first year ARR. So you can just imagine like how fast of an ascent that was. And it was only because we were focused on our customers. We were focused on how are our customers, people that are using AI at work to create marketing copy, how are they going to be more successful using Jasper? And as a recurring revenue business, every single day we had to focus on that customer value or else we had churn. Our customers didn't stay with us. And so right out of the gate, we were really obsessed about not just AI. AI was just sort of a way that we could be more efficient with our customers, but actually how are we getting embedded into their workflow and how are we actually delivering value? And so I think we had an early mover advantage. We had a ton of scale. We had a lot of real customers. And then we were lucky or wise enough just to listen to our customers. And then they quickly pulled us into their teams at work, into their businesses, into the enterprise. And over the last year, we've really accelerated and found our flow works best in the kind of big enterprise marketing organizations. And so, yeah, we had the luxury of doing that versus trying to guess at what AI company we wanted to build or where we could put AI into an existing legacy software application. We got to really start with just thinking about that problem and how we could solve it.
Can you talk a little bit more about the transition that you're leaning in after you learned your kind of a customer needs, maybe from more kind of retail customers than enterprise, big sales motions?
Yeah, and it was tough. We had such an organic kind of prosumer business that was growing so fast that we didn't want to do anything to cannibalize or hurt that part of the business. But we were also getting so much inbound sort of pull from the enterprise. And they were asking for completely different things. Enterprise wanted admin tabs, and they wanted workflows, and they wanted us to be embedded in the actual systems that they're working in every day. And prosumers wanted features and functionality in a different template or a different type of editor. And like we really struggled in the beginning with how do we support both of those groups of customers. And so about a year ago, like we Insight company, obviously, we've got an amazing board, and really gave us like the confidence to double down and go all in on the enterprise business. That was where we were seeing the most pull. It was the larger deals, the more interesting problems. We thought that's a longer term opportunity for us. And so about a year ago, we pulled out of the kind of prosumer business and went all in on enterprise. Now, a lot of the things we're building for the enterprise actually help us on the self-service down market side of the business as well. So we're able to kind of leverage the work that we're doing there on that side. But it was a totally different type of customer, totally different type of employee we had to work, or we had to recruit to Jasper. Completely different product we need to build. Like some of you may have seen last week, we announced our new product launch, but it's all about like collaboration and teams and workflow and analytics, and like it's all about performance of the content that we're creating and proving to our customers that they can be more productive and have better outcomes in the enterprise using AI, as opposed to just like simple content building, which was kind of the first year of Jasper's life at the prosumer level.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that journey. And I think balancing existing business and being able to keep up with the speed to develop more AI generative products has been a problem that a lot of the kind of so-called incumbents or the big tech giants have to face as well. And Eli, at Adobe, you led the digital media business and the launch of product Firefly, which basically is kind of the talk of the town for people using creative tools and generative AI. Can you talk us a little bit, how does that process of development, Firefly, and how you guys were able to basically move at a speed of startup?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I joined Adobe actually about a little over a year and a half ago, which was right at sort of the dawn of this stuff. In fact, I joined because it was so clear that this stuff was going to be transformative to the creative space, creative customer, and to Adobe's business. Like every company, we had to ask the question of not just AI is cool, let's put it in our products, but to your point, what are the problems that we want to solve? What are the problems that historically we've looked at it for our customers and said, what has been too hard? Where is their magic that we said that's something we couldn't do? And ask, does AI change this, or does it fundamentally change the workflows that our customers are engaging in? And then what tools do we have to play with? And the tools there, really boil down to the data, the models, the interfaces, and obviously the workflows and access to customer. The good news for us is we're an innovation-based company. We've been doing creative AI, generative AI for 10 years. I have in my team a large organization of some of the best, most brilliant PhDs in the world in the field of computer graphics, computer vision, 3D, audio, video, text, you name it. So we had the people in place to be able to engage here. We had the data in place through our Adobe Stock repository. We had the interfaces that our customers use every day for doing their creative work. So it wasn't a question for us about getting our hands on the tools. It was about, what does it take for us to get started? And as you know, in a big company, a lot of that is about building consensus, about marshaling the resources, about marshaling the focus. And I don't think there's any magic fairy dust I can say for what we did there that made that happen. It was just understanding very quickly among the leadership that how transformative this was going to be, and that it would require bold moves for us, and very clearly seeing from day one for us what the new value was to our customers. So if we can see that, and we can be bold about making those decisions, we had all those pieces in place to take our existing investments in creative AI and just pivot it towards these latest inventions.
Yeah. What feedback you have been seeing since the launch of Firefly, and now you guys just had a new model, basically?
Yeah, so we launched it originally back in May. That was our beta of our first model, which was the Firefly image model, and our focus there was on number one, first and foremost, making it safe for commercial use. Back to that theme of understand what the customer need is you're going to address. That was a big thing we were hearing from our customers when they looked at what's in the market. And integration deeply into our tools and being enterprise ready. From that first launch of the beta, it's been fantastic feedback, lots of excitement. There's a lot of questions in every industry about what is the impact of this going to do on workflows, jobs, value flows, you name it. And so there was a lot of work that we had to do, and we are continuing to do with our community, our customers, bringing them through that journey, understanding what the impact of this is going to be and how they optimize that for success for themselves. So we didn't know exactly what that first reaction would be, but in general, the reaction has been, thank God we have this in a way that we can use, in a way that can power the creatives rather than the threat of just replacing them. And so from that initial launch in May through the releases we've done in Photoshop in June, the GA release last month, and then the release of our Image 2 model, our vector model, and our design model that we did last 2 weeks ago, I guess now, it's been a fantastic reaction. We have I think we've had over 3.5 billion images created with Firefly so far. The uptake of the features in our products is 10 times the typical uptake of a new feature. So everything basically up and to the right.
And Jason, I think you can probably relate to some of that with the speed of product release your team had this year. And it seems like the pipeline is still pretty strong. Can you tell a little bit more about the work and product roadmaps at Vertex?
So I think it's been noted in the press and everywhere that Google, while we invented a lot of this technology, we didn't bring it to market, certainly at scale, directly first. And so when I was looking at our roadmap this time last year, I was looking around at the models Google had sitting in our research departments and saying, what can I take and put into some of our more up-the-stack products? How do I use these much the way our customers do? How do I use them to make our products better? We sort of hit an inflection point in the market. We came back to work at late December, early January, and said, the world actually is ready for these models to be exposed directly. The world wants to build on top of the capabilities that are coming out of Google's research departments that we've been working on for the better part of a decade at this point. And so our team kicked into high gear. I'd say we're probably moving at the speed of a startup. My team has launched, I think, 16 different things this year. So we're talking about launch, 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 launch. Get it out there quickly. But you have to meet the bar for Google and for a hyperscale cloud provider where it has to be reliable, it has to be scalable, it has to be enterprise ready. And so we've got a lot of hoops to jump through before we actually put something out into the market. And so we also have a really, I think it's an important distinction that we've taken on ourselves, which is the bold and responsible version of responsible AI as well. Because we have many teams that have been thinking about the applications of AI in the marketplace in all of the Google products for many years. Google's been an at-scale user of generative AI for many years. We just haven't exposed the underlying functionality to the world. And when we're doing this, we have all sorts of ways that we understand that the consumer world and the enterprise world are different. And so we allow a lot of knobs and dials to tune exactly where you want to be as an enterprise. And so the understanding of what the right product in the market has been an interesting journey. I think we've learned quickly. And every time that we take a bold step, I think customers respond and have really enjoyed the products we've released.
Speaking of large language models, those magical neural networks is kind of a starting point of our conversations. And I know some of you guys here have proprietary models that you have developed, and some of you guys work with a variety of model providers. Where do you see that adoption of working with large language models going? Maybe we'll start you, Jason, because you have a very front row seat of the research and adoption curve of that.
So I think from the outside, most people think of Google as there's a research org that sits somewhere in an ivory tower. It's a couple buildings in a couple different places in the world, and that they sit and they're siloed. And it's actually not the case. We are learning from our customers what our customers are looking to do, where the models aren't performing exactly how our customers, especially in large enterprise, would expect them to. And then we custom curate the data sets that we need to feed back into those research orgs. So the flywheel, as we put products out into the market, has actually helped us to innovate faster and innovate in the directions that our customers are looking for us to innovate in. And so I think that's a key workflow for any product team, right? Is how do we deliver what our customers are looking for? Not what they're asking for, but what they really want. And how do we get that flywheel and that cycle to be as short as possible? And how do we make that an acceleration, not just a steady state? And so when I look ahead at our roadmap and when I see what's coming down out of our research orgs and how much we've influenced that, I think it's a testament to the world reacting to our models, driving us in certain directions. And then we have our own opinions about some other places we should go. And so, as we talked about, I think our roadmap is very, very strong, and I'm excited for our upcoming releases.
And Vertex seems to be able to offer access to a variety of models, including Google's own models, as well as some open source ones. Do you think that's kind of the future where enterprise customers will work with large language models?
So I want the best model to win, and I want the best model to be available on my infrastructure. So that is how we're going. And Google has a great research org, and we can influence the model training and the direction of those models. So we have influence on our first-party models, but there are lots of great open source models. We make Llama 2, so Meta's model, available in our model garden. We have the Falcon models. There's a whole bunch of other open source models that we have available. And at our conference about 2 months ago, we announced we'll have Anthropic's model, Claude 2, available as well. So we'll have open source first-party and third-party models all available using all of the Vertex tooling as well. We want our customers to get what they need from our infrastructure, and we'll make it as easy as possible for that to happen.
Jason, do you want to talk about the proprietary model you guys are developing at Adobe?
Sure, yeah, I will echo, I think, a lot of what Jason said, which is, same thing. We are in the blessed position of having the resources to be able to develop our own proprietary models, which, because we believe that what matters is the way these models integrate with the workflows and the tools that customers are using, whether they're the ones they already know or the new ones that will crop up because of disruption in the technology. We think we are finding it incredibly valuable to be able to design exactly the models that meet customer needs, whether that's things like provenance of training data, knowing that all the data that is trained on is licensed, or just the details of the inputs and outputs and fine-tuning the weights of the model to be able to fit into very specific points of their workflow. It's incredibly valuable. And that's what we did, the way we integrated our Image 1 model into Photoshop, our Vector 1 model into Illustrator, our Design 1 model into Adobe Express. And we are continuing to invest across those and other content types to make sure that we have those everywhere. It is absolutely a luxury that not every company has. And so I do think every company has to start from what are the solutions that I need, what again is going to solve problems for our customers, and then look at the resources they have, the models that are out there, whether they're proprietary or open source, and figure out which one is best for us. I think we're at early days in terms of understanding what that landscape of models will look like. There is a race going on. The technology is dramatically changing. Will it be proprietary models? Will it be open source models? Will it be one model to rule them all, or specialized models? Anybody who can claim an answer to that is probably doesn't know what they're talking about at this point. I think that's a good sign that they may not really know. So I think that world is changing, and the answer of how does a company decide when and how to invest, or what model to pick, or how to build them, I think that will change over time as well. For our perspective, again, if you have the ability and the people to be able to go and build custom models, just as you kind of imagine, as we thought about the cloud world years ago, there's value in having large providers. There is value in being able to specialize and customize if you're the kind of company that has access to that and can. And that will, the equation there will shift.
And Shane, I know Jasper has been on a little bit different trajectory, that you guys started using a lot of the GPT models from OpenAI, but over time you do kind of a diversified and integrating, working with different model providers. Can you walk us through kind of the rationale behind the decision?
Yeah, sure. So initially we started off with OpenAI. That was the kind of hack that we used for probably the first year of our existence, was making OpenAI and GPT-3 more accessible with templates and guidance, essentially, for our customers. But what we quickly noticed is that our customers wanted different types of output. All our customers really cared about was the content that came out of the tool, and whether it was embedded in the workflows and how efficient their teams were able to sort of use AI to do their jobs. And different use cases, different models worked better for different use cases. And so we quickly built what we call our Jasper AI engine, and it essentially sits on top of all these different models. So Google's a great partner of ours, Cohere, Anthropic, Stability, OpenAI, obviously, Facebook. We actually even have our own models, like smaller models that are outperforming some of the larger models, because they're just finely tuned for those use cases. And so depending on the customer, depending on the customer's requirements, depending on the requested output, we'll use different models to support those different cases. And so therefore the output is just better. And now with analytics, we can show it and prove it to the enterprises, and they actually really care deeply about this. So for us, it's been a great advantage that we work on all these different models and that we're able to sort of leverage all the amazing work that you're all doing to make the models better and more efficient and faster and safer, and we get to sit on top of that. So that's been a strategy for us that's worked out really well.
I think one incentive to diversify the model uses is also for the business model, because sometimes open source models or different models can help you kind of lower the cost, but not compromise the results that you're generating for your clients. I think people are experimenting with different usage-based, consumption-based models in this generative AI age, as the cost of beneficiary or calculations might be different. I think Adobe has something interesting with generative credits that you guys have launched with the Firefly products. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. So when we launched the GA version of Firefly a little over a month ago, we introduced a new concept of generative credits, which is a consumption-based model that allows customers to use as much or as little of these cloud-based expensive features like Firefly to drive their creative work. This is different from our traditional approach, which is a subscription-based model, but we kind of bridge the gap a little bit in that we really, right now, we think that this is going to be transformative to the workflows of all our customers. So we really want our customers to be able to dive in as quickly as possible and be able to take advantage of it. So every one of our customers gets some of those credits with their plans. We actually priced it originally to make sure that most of our customers are going to be able to get in and start getting value out of this and get a lot of value without having to worry about, are they going to run into those limits? So this kind of hybrid model where it is a consumption-based model, but the way we've priced and structured is for usage and growth, allows us to really enter the market in a way that gets everybody using it, protects us against overuse and abuse, and allows us to start to experiment and find new ways as these models grow, as the features grow, as we move into a world where we think people are going to be using these, as 10, then 20, then 50, then 80% of their workflow. That both the high cost of using these can scale with the value they bring and with the breadth of what those features bring. It also gives us room, again, because we are investing in these models and we have these brilliant PhDs who can drive this for us. It gives us room to continue to invest heavily in optimizing the models and driving down costs and making them more efficient for our benefit and our customers' benefit. So.
Yeah. And Shane, how do you think about the pricing side of it?
Yeah, it's smart. That we went through a very similar exercise. We actually, initially we started off per user for a set amount of capacity, and then you would buy additional capacity. And what we found is we thought it would protect us, but it was driving the wrong behavior. We want our customers to use as much of Jasper as we can, and then the responsibility is on us to make the outputs better and more efficient, so you don't have to run 5 different versions of the content or campaign you're trying to create. You can run one, and you can then optimize it because the outputs are just more efficient and better. And so we removed the per user per month, or we removed the capacity component, and now we just license it per user per month or for a team. And then we want them to sort of get as much experience with Jasper. Like the more you use Jasper, the better the experience and the more use cases that you can think of. And so we'll go from marketing, which is where we're mostly focused. You'll see the CMO will pull us into the sales organization because they want that brand, that messaging to be consistent across their org. Or they'll bring us into CS, or they'll bring us into support. And so for us, that's great. We want Jasper to sort of work with all those customer-facing organizations, even though we're mostly focused on supporting the marketers. And so that's happening because we're trying to sort of impact the customers as broadly as we can. And then so for us, it's all about the output. Like we just care about the content being good versus the cost. We have that under control.
Speaking of model cost, Jason, I think Google seemed to be sitting in a pretty unique position with their both the kind of first-party models as well as the hardware layer in-house.
We've had the advantage, I think we're on our 5th generation of TPU, tensor processing unit. Google invented a machine learning chip to serve its massive billions of users on the consumer side. So we invented this years ago because we saw the cost and we wanted to get these models out there. And so I think Google has the most developed software stack around custom silicon and the most experience, years and years more experience running that at scale worldwide. And so we have, if you take the full advantage of Google's entire stack from the hardware all the way up through our first-party models. You can get the most optimized experience. But we also, we work with some of the world's largest foundation model providers as well, who do their training on our cloud. So it's not just the inference, not just the serving of the models, but it's all the way up and down the stack and everywhere in the process as well. So we think we offer a very compelling value proposition, no matter where you are in the industry.
Any beans you can spill about the next generation of the models Google are developing? I think there's a lot of excitement both on Room and also online about what Gemini may bring.
Coming soon.
Well, I guess we'll all stay tuned on that. But on that note, anything that you guys are excited about in the next 6 months? Because I feel like in the past 9 months, we have been seeing this incredible ramping up in product development. And we've seen a lot of press releases, like conferences, announcements, people coming out, but also some like real products are like Adobe Firefly and Jasper are kind of changing people's productivity and workflow already. What's the focus for the next 6 months?
So, I mean, our focus, first and foremost, it's, I'll say this. We drive our investment across, I think, four pillars. Number one is quality and control. So we released version 1 of Image a month ago. We released version 2 in beta 2 weeks ago. Massive jump in quality. We'll continue to see that growth go up and to the right of what can be generated with these models and other content types. We went from imaging to vector to design. We're looking at video and 3D and audio as well. So no comments on timelines, but you'll see stuff coming out from there as well. And then control and iteration. Again, we think that prompts are great, but the real value is when you integrate those into multimodal workflows where you can combine prompts with images, with pointing at something and selecting something and providing references and examples. And that ability to really give a multimodal, rich creative brief, no matter what your skill level is or what level of detail you want to provide, that's what's going to power creativity, and that's where we're making our investments. And the other pillars, well, I'll give you the other pillars. Our third is customization, which is enterprises love the models we build. They love that they are safe for commercial use, and they don't have IP issues in them, but they want them to be usable for their workflows and to understand their IP and their brand and style. So lots of work we're investing in there that we have in private beta now, and you'll see coming out in the not too distant future. And the last one is integration, continuing to push it deeper into tools and workflows.
Cool. Yeah, you'll see us continue to invest in this Copilot for marketers. It'll be action-based. You'll tell it what to do. It'll drive campaigns. It'll drive collaboration. It'll prove it back to you with analytics. And you'll see us driving deeper into like performance and making sure that Jasper is actually helping you be more effective. I'm most excited because it's something that Eli said where a year ago, it feels like AI was something that people were almost embarrassed to tell other folks they were using. Right? It was this secret little weapon that you use to create content a little faster or to kind of, maybe get out of work a little bit earlier. But now it's almost to the point where it's embarrassing if you're not using AI, and it's embarrassing if you don't have an AI strategy as an executive in these big enterprise companies. So I'm really excited for the future that that's going to bring, where it's expected and it's talked about, like, what is your strategy for AI in finance and marketing and sales and CS and distribution or manufacturing. And that's when this gets really exciting and interesting, I think, for all of us. And we're just in the very early stages of that.
And to the point you made earlier, that the answer to that question is, what problems are you trying to solve?
It's all about that.
Not, yeah, we're using AI, right? Which is kind of the curve we're moving through.
So happy that like the days of just announcing the press release that you have AI in your product makes your stock pop 30% for the day. Yeah. It's going to come back tomorrow.
Are we past that?
We're past that, I think.
I think we're over the peak.
I hope we're close.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Jason from Google, Eli from Adobe, and Shane from Jasper for sharing your experience building AI products. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone please thank our panelists, Shane, Eli, Jason, and Crystal for a wonderful discussion.